Hey guys, just a quick message before we start. You may have noticed that the upload schedule's been a little bit whack. The Ronus got us a little bit down, and we're really sorry about that. We've had a lot going on, but when we started recording, we decided that we weren't going to do it if it wasn't going to be fun. So we're back, we have found the fun, and we are ready to go. So, it's the people who missed you. It's Power Word Roll.
Salutations, and welcome to Power Word Roll. I'm Conrad Leeton Gray, the Dungeon Master, and today I am joined by Naomi.
Hello!
Who is playing
Glax!
I am joined by Annie.
Hello!
Who is playing
Dawna.
I'm joined by Henry.
Or are you?
I don't know, am I?
And who is he playing, more importantly?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yes!
Fair enough. Well, it's a mystery, which is fitting for what we've got planned today. That brings us on to our guest of the week, Sasha Sienna. Hello!
Hello!
Of course, Sasha is known for many things. MacGuffin and Company, making some RPGs and settings and such. Also being one of the cast of the Magnus Archives, and also, finally, your more recent podcast of Jane... I was about to say Jane Expectations.
Do you want to try that again?
Jane Expectations is actually a really good name for a podcast. There should be another one.
But Jane Ostentations.
And also, What the Ghost podcast, which I feel like we should sort of mention.
Oh, yeah, but only very few people actually get to listen to that one. It's behind a hefty paywall. But don't tell Rusty Quill I said that. That's very bad marketing. It's behind a very reasonable paywall.
How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
We're excited to have you on.
And the pertinent question, who are you playing?
I am playing Alonzo Persimmon.
A rich landowner, the owner of one Mulsantir Manor, overlooking Lake Mulsantir near the town of Two Stars, which borders between Thesk and Thay, two nations, one known for its mercantilism, and the bordering nation of Thay, known for its dark magic and wizardry. Alonzo is, I believe, you're hosting a party.
Yes, it's going to be a very special evening. All the best people will be there.
Indeed.
Like us.
Yeah.
And also, Alonzo is an elf bard. And he has a very important addition, which is his instrument of choice.
Oh, yeah. We were discussing this beforehand. What is Alonzo's instrument of choice?
The saxolute. I'm sure that's very self-explanatory.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if it isn't, could you give us a sample of what a saxolute might sound like?
So a saxolute is basically, it's a mix between a saxophone and a lute. And it might sound a little something like well,
for legal reasons, I'm going to have to stop you there, but I think we all understand exactly what you're saying.
Famous instrument from Thesk. High culture, you know. This party, unfortunately, it was meant to celebrate 10 years of peace between Thesk and Thay, with no border disputes between the two nations. But then a letter arrived in the dead of night that explained that two doppelgangers, strange creatures that can disguise themselves as any humanoid, were to attend the party and assassinate two guests. So, Alonzo therefore made the decision to hire experts in monster disposal. Unfortunately, in alphabetical order in the yellow pages, it was Tooth and Claw.
Alphabetically,
They weren't available, so...
Yes, unfortunately, all the other firms before T have slowly been killed off over time. It's sort of a survival of the fittest.
Definitely not by us.
It's not an aggressive marketing campaign, we promise.
And I don't know who told you it was an aggressive marketing scheme, but I do know they're full of shit.
So, but as you're sort of pulling up to Mulsantir Manor, you can see the beautiful view of Mulsantir Lake. You're going up a sort of hill lined with these nice picturesque deciduous trees with sort of blossom, spring blossom on them, and you're making your way up with the cart when, Slate, you hear a vibrating from the sending stone in your pocket.
Oh, I think someone's trying to contact us.
I'll get it!
Hello?
Hey there, Slate.
Hey.
You understand that this is, of course this is foreign dignitaries, but because Dorna's the only one who has the noble title at the company, we gotta send you, alright?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'm always happy to
So you
attend
gotta
the
be on
party.
your best behavior.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
I'm saying.
Why did we bring Glax along?
I don't know, that's on Dorna, but that's really what I'm here to discuss. Just make sure that Glex doesn't harm the company's reputation. You got that?
Yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot. Dorna,
Yes?
I got a call from Gorthax. We can't let Glax do anything Glaxy.
Yes, I thought that might be a problem.
It's okay.
Can't let Glax around everywhere.
I've got the perfect disguise.
And Glax would like to come out of the wardrobe in the back. He's wearing a large, poofy, like, I'm going to use the phrase Pride and Prejudice style, with long white satin gloves, curly blonde wig, a bonnet that covers most of his face, and a large fan to flutter sort of coquettishly, but mostly so that his lizard face cannot be seen.
Well, I mean, that does provide an element of subtlety, I suppose.
I mean, it's a choice.
Slate.
Hi, Gorthax.
Look, just follow Dorna's lead. I gotta go, so just follow Dorna's lead, and, you remember the client requested that you don't tell any of the guests what's going on, okay? So just deal with it, try and do it.
Yes, I do definitely remember that you told me that, and this isn't the first I'm hearing of it. Yeah, perfect.
Exactly. The company's, reputation lies on both of your shoulders.
And also mine!
I wouldn't do that.
And he hangs up.
Oh, no.
Glax, it might be easier if we just say that you are not someone who talks very much, and then you only talk to the one person who has actually hired us for the job. I'm sure we'll find them when we get there. Oh, and no just eating anything in sight.
So it's a party, but I can't eat anything or talk to anybody.
Exactly.
But you now realise you are heading up, sort of to the sort of top of the hill, and as the cart pulls over onto sort of the gravel pathway, there's a sort of gnomish figure standing by the door in quite fine clothing with like white gloves and a black suit on, who sort of sidles on up as you guys start to park the cart.
Hello there. I am Benjamin Beige. I am the butler. And which one of you is Miss Bourne Anvil?
That would be me.
Good day. Sir Alonso, my master, has requested for you specifically. Please, would you all follow me?
And you can see he leads you sort of until you end up at what seems to be a drawing room with a massive, really expensive and impressive chandelier. Around the room there's sort of bookshelves with loads of old books.
Is this Conrad's ideal party?
And there's a piano which seems to be playing itself in one side. There's also, as you enter the room, who do they see, Sasha?
Alonso is quite tall with an extremely fussy moustache and very slicked back dark hair.
What's he wearing for the party?
Well, he'd be dressed in, I think, something very appropriate, but a little bit more dramatic than is the standard. Wearing black, but it's incredibly deep black.
Cool.
Fancy. Alonso, your attention is drawn as you see Beige, the butler.
May I introduce Dorna Bournanville, daughter of Lord Bournanville of Daggerford, and her companions.
And he bows and then exits the room.
Slater sees him bow and just worriedly and hastily bows as well.
He looks very confused as he exits the room, sort of giving a slight nod.
Alonso will rush forward to kiss Lady Bournanville on the hand, or whatever is the custom. Wait, is it Lady Bournanville, just to check, or is it something different?
So I haven't actually worked that out.
How does it work in terms of titles? I'm not sure, at what point it's passed down to son or daughter.
I've no idea. That's why I haven't specified.
You could get fancy and be like Marquis or Vicomte.
Yeah, but if you do that, I'll forget it.
Very fair. Very fair. Ain't that the truth?
Let's go with Lady then.
Okay. Lady Bornandrel, thank you so much for coming, and thank you to your guests as well, and thank you so much for coming dressed on the occasion.
Glax puts his hand out to also be kissed.
You see this sort of scaly hand with sharp claws, massive, sort of lent out.
I'm wearing
from-
gloves, and I've got a long
Yeah.
sleeve
Oh,
on. It's just like, for a lady, I seem exceedingly, like, buff. Just, like, completely over buff. And not very pretty.
There is absolutely no moment's hesitation in taking it and just kissing it very smoothly. Though perhaps there's a small, like, ouch at the thought of a claw. Just kind of catch.
in the moustache.
Just like, oh, delightful sharp hands you have.
Oh my, what large teeth you have, grandmother.
What sharp hands you have, party guest.
Oh, the better to be kissed by.
I trust that you've been briefed of the situation.
Yes, we have a fair idea of what is going on, and we do understand that there is a degree of subtlety required.
Oh yes, discretion is of the utmost importance in this matter. I do want to stress that.
It'll be our number one priority. After actually killing the things.
Yes, well, I'm glad to see that you are capable of multitasking.
At this point, you can see that the gnomish figure, Benjamin Beige, the butler, enters the room once again and steps to the side. And you can see walking to the room, there is a woman with an even poofier, sort of dress than Glax, covered in bows and ribbon, with her hair in a massive beehive shape.
Is it a ship like Marie Antoinette?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, it's a blimp.
God.
It's a blimp. I'm sorry, I got very excited.
Beige, the butler, sort of says, "May I introduce Lady Mayor Anne-Marie let me try that again. May I introduce Lady Mayor Anne-Marie Aquamarine of 2 Stars." And he bows once again, flamboyantly, and exits the room. And you see this woman strides on up. And as she advances, you realise that the layers of makeup that hide an aging visage. Now, of course, Alonso, you know that Lady Mayor Anne-Marie Aquamarine is the mayor of 2 Stars. The mayor in this society is the richest person in any particular town. And she was very keen to host this party herself. Hello, Alonso. Good to see you.
Lady Mayor, thank you so much for coming. The evening has just got 1,000 times brighter with your presence.
Oh, yes, I see you've gone minimalist with the decorations.
Oh, well, quality over quantity is what I always say, as you know.
Yes, I suppose that that must do for somebody with, such little to their name. I see that I'm the first to arrive.
Oh, well, not quite. We have some distinguished guests. As you can see, Lady Donna Bornanville, I do apologise, is here with her companions.
Good day. Bornanville, is that of the Sword Coast? You've come an awful long way.
Well, there was no way we could miss out on an event so prestigious as this one. It is my greatest pleasure to attend.
Yes, indeed. It's a very important occasion. I do hope the event lives up to it. Come with me and let us speak in the corner here by the window. Look out at the lovely lake below. Mm-hmm. She seems to have totally blanked on the other 2 of you, not knowing that you've got any noble title.
That's fair.
I think Glax and Slate just exchanged like a glance and just like, thank God.
So the 3 of you with Alonso there are sort of left for a moment, and then you can see that the gnomish figure of Benjamin Beige enters once again.
I can't believe you called this kid Beige. That's so rude.
Well, we've also got Lady Mayor Anne-Marie Aquamarine.
Okay, so they're all
we've got
colour-coded.
Oh, it's Cluedo.
There's a theme.
Yeah.
I love that.
Another gnomish figure enters in quite, like sort of plain wear, but with is it a dog collar? The bishop,
Yeah.
sort of like the vicar's
Yeah, dog
collar. Yeah, the sort of religious dog collar in quite plain clothes. This sort of middle-aged woman, but, sort of quite warm smile upon her face. Laugh lines quite visible. And you can see that the butler sort of bows and says, "May I introduce Bishop Carmelina Claret of 2 Stars. Oh, hello there, Alonzo. How are you?"
Bishop, I am very well, thank you. Now that you are here, the room has just become 1,000 times brighter with your presence. Thank you so much for making the journey to our humble party.
Peace is always a good thing and good for commerce, of course,
Glax thrusts out a hand.
Hello?
She
I
sort of...
do apologise. Allow me to introduce...
Yes.
Go!
Just Lady Bourne Anvil's companion. This delightful creature.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of how to skew that to sound like a name. This Delilah.
This Delilah Eacher.
Hello there, This Delilah. Pleasure to meet you. I'm the Bishop of the Temple of Wildkeen in the city.
I wave my fan coquettishly in front of my face and then, pat her on the head.
You can see this kindly sort of religious woman just sort of goes along with it. She sort of nods along and then says, "Oh, and hello to you too. I'm loving the dwarven wear."
Thank you. It's an old one from where I used to grow up with some dwarves. But yeah,
what an upbringing.
I don't have a title or anything, but you can just call me Slate.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Slayton. Don't worry, I only got a title for my devotion to the church, so, I'm a common woman at the end of it.
As she's saying this, you see that the gnomish figure comes back in.
May I introduce Dr. Frederick Fallow of the Thesk Mountains.
And you can see then walking in, there's a dwarven fellow with a very impressive long beard that goes down, beneath his sort of rotund belly. That's sort of wearing fairly fancy things, but you can see he's got a doctor's bag at his side, and he walks into the room. What is Glax doing at this point as Slate walks away with?
Glax puts up the fan between himself and Alfonso, and he's like,
"I think the butler did it. The butler always did it. So should I hit him now, or do I have to wait?"
No, I think you may be under some misapprehension. Nothing has yet been done, and Benjamin has been with me for decades, ever since my first tours. He was with me, carrying around my sacks as I went and sang, holding out for a folk hero. I mean, he even, I have to say, assisted with several notes in the bridge of Sweet Home Neverwinter. Benjamin is as trustworthy a man as can be found.
So who else could it be? Who don't we trust?
Obviously, the people who are attending this party are the cream of society. All of them are beyond reproach.
At this point, you can see Benjamin re-enters, bows once again, and says,
"May I introduce Vice Admiral Samuel Sinoper of Fent and his betrothed, Miss Nancy Nattier of Telflam?" Telflam with 2 M's? What?
"Thanks, Wizards of the
Why?
Coast."
Thanks, Wizards of the Coast.
Less consonants, more talking horses.
That screams of, we came up with this name on the fly.
Yeah.
Shit, we need a name for another stupid elf city. Quick, Dave intern. What can
Just
we call
get
it?
the Scrabble bag, everyone. It'll be fine. Just shake it up.
Mum,
pull 'em out.
hi, yeah. Just think of a stupid name. Make up a word. Telflam, got it, done. Thank you.
It's Teflon and flan.
Exactly.
2 of my favourite
really
things. These are a few of my favourite things.
You see a sort of tall, wiry ginger man with long face and a sort of perpetual sneer upon it enter the room in sort of military garb. Also a half-elf lady and quite a nice dress. She's quite pretty, but sort of seems reserved at her arm. They sort of enter, and you can see the Vice Admiral walks up to Alonso and says,
Hello.
Hello, yes, thank you so much for coming. It is a delight to see you both. I have to say the party has been dreadfully dull until your arrival, but now that you're here, the room has lit up with the brilliance of your company.
With 1,000 stars!
Yes, thank you very much. We'll shortly be getting started. I believe we may be waiting for a few more guests. Don't know why I said that. I've got no idea how many guests we're waiting for, to be perfectly honest with you.
And now you realise that everybody from Thesk, so now you're just waiting on the arrival of all the people from Thay who are coming as one party
Good.
together.
I'm glad they're
Right.
not all
Okay.
individually being introduced, because that would be a long podcast for me to edit.
Filing on in, a tad later, Arcanist Vistus Viridan of Thay Mount, a sort of dwarven woman whose hair floats as if it were in water, though it's completely dry. Finally, two figures enter, one of whom is just sort of floating off of the ground, is sort of pale, gaunt, and sickly looking almost.
All right, I found the evil one, guys.
He did it because the GM said so.
Because look at him.
Because look at bad guy.
He's ugly as hell.
Oh, it's Disney rules of evil.
Yeah, and he's got this really high collar and this long red cloak. And you can see Benjamin bows and says, "May I introduce, of course, the honoured guest, Lord Agamemnon Alabaster of Cirthe."
Wow.
And you can see he floats into the room, and just following him are two zombies, also dressed as butlers, who just sort of file into the room and just go, "Ugh." His servants, Ash and Flint. And you can see all three of them enter into the room. And then following shortly after, "And let us not forget his son, Azafara Aurelian of Cirthe."
Man, if my dad named me that, I would kill myself. So extreme.
We're talking like Prince Charles. Obviously, the Lord has lived forever, and this guy is getting on in years as well. He's got a receding hairline, equally pale skin. He sort of walks into the room looking quite shifty-eyed as well. But you can see at this point, Lord Alabaster is floating towards Alonso and says,
Hello there.
Wow.
I do believe that you're in charge of the party.
That's an accent, my dude.
Wow.
It is.
What?
I am from Thay.
Sorry, so we're meant to be finding someone who's evil, someone who is a dog. Okay, all right, just checking.
"Are you accusing the Lord of Thay to be evil?"
Now, okay, I don't want
That
to
is
cause a commotion,
diplomacy no-no.
but
I feel
Maybe.
confident saying.
He floats up and
You are the one in charge of this party, correct?
Alonso bows so hard, he's basically touching his toes. Lord Alabaster, oh yes, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this humble celebration of the 10 years peace of our two great nations.
Indeed. May there be many more years of peace. Where can I find a drink around here?
Oh, well, we have ample refreshments that I'm sure will be to your liking, wherever the refreshments are. Over there.
there's a table. There's a
Oh,
table.
by the
It's got like
table,
little
yes.
cheese on little cocktail sticks, olives. There's a sort of refreshments table and snacks and things. And you can see he floats on over. And at this point, all the guests have arrived. Walking up to the end of the room, you can see that everybody's sort of just chatting amongst themselves, laughing, joking. What do you do?
So I will take my little champagne glass and sort of do the tink, 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 tink thing until people stop looking, which, given that it's quite polite and quite dainty, probably nobody will immediately, at which point I'll do this magically acoustic and
it echoes out the room, and you can see everybody just sort of stops and turns and quietens down.
Thank you so much, distinguished guests, for coming here to my humble abode to celebrate 10 years of peace between the nations of Tesk and Thay. I am sure that we are all delighted that we've been living in such close harmony for the last 10 years, and we look forward to many years more. And now, something that I'm sure both nations can agree is enjoyable, I will be giving a rendition of my famous hit, Kobold Eileen.
And you can see there's polite clapping as you begin
Lex
to play.
turns to Slate and he's like, I know this one.
Maybe you should.
Kobold Eileen, oh, your scales are so green in this dungeon. You eat everything. You're under arrest cause you've stolen a chest full of laundry.
As the song continues, eventually things die down, and you can see that there's vague chatter.
How well does Alonso know all these people?
You are aware of them, obviously, as sort of reasonably local nobility. You don't really know the Arcanist, the dwarf woman. You've met Lord Alabaster before. You know of his son, Azafara. All of the people from Thesk you are well acquainted with.
I have
however.
a question. Is there anybody at this party that Alonso has had a secret tryst with? Because that might be important information.
I will have had an affair. Oh, I know. I will have had, at some point, sordid affairs with both Vice Admiral Samuel Sinapeo Fent and Miss Nancy Natter of Telfland.
Very good.
It is up to you whether or not they know that I've had an affair with
They
both
do not.
of them.
They do not.
It was a long time ago.
You know, obviously saucy, sordid love affair with both of them. But is there any of those people that you want to have a word with?
I would probably just be trying to watch the people that I know closely to see if I could see any difference.
Make an insight check for me,
Okay. Oh, excellent. Yeah, so I got an 11.
Nice. The one thing that stands out to you is that your maid, who comes in every now and to clear things and clean things, she seems very well prepared compared to normal. Beyond that...
Well, I'm so glad to see that the chats I've been having with Flora about pre-preparedness and organisation are getting through.
I would like to talk to Alabaster.
Okay.
Well, actually, more importantly, I would like to talk to Ash and Flint.
You can see that Ash and Flint are just following Lord Alabaster. They're actually holding up his cloak, almost like he's in a wedding dress, but he's in this big red robe, and they're holding up the ends of it on either side. You walk up to them, they're moaning, they're groaning.
Glax, I'd probably stay away from them if I were you.
It's too late. He's going. And he sidles up coquettishly with his fan and sort of like makes eyes at Ash and thrusts out his hand to be kissed.
You can see that the Ash's zombified form, their neck just cricks and you hear a bone like snap somewhere within. And the hair that's left, the other side, sort of the brain visible, he sort of slicks it back with a limp, flaccid hand. And then leans forward with his whole form and you just feel his lip fall off as it presses.
I step back. I'm trying to, coax him into a hallway.
Okay. Make a stealth check so that Alabaster doesn't notice this.
18!
You can see he goes to, go for your hand and kiss it, and then he continues to stumble forwards as, still going for it, his entire form being led by what remains of his lips.
I'm doing a very, woo-hoo-hoo, you can't catch me type thing.
There's a gormless look on this zombie's face.
As I go into the hallway. And I would like to find a closet and lock him in it.
Okay, so you leave, there's a cupboard under the stairs that you managed to open, and you can see that he follows you inside.
And then I say, "Excuse me, I'm a lady with cloth." And I slam the door and lock it.
You hear from behind as the cupboard under the stairs is locked and Ash has been gotten rid of.
Okay, I go up to Lord Alabaster and I pick up the corner of his train.
Okay.
And I'm just like,
yes.
Oh no, what has happened? But obviously I'm not saying anything, I'm just sort of making that motion with my hands.
Are you trying to get Lord Alabaster's attention with this?
I think that I'm trying to get close to Lord Alabaster and kind of listen in.
Okay, can you make a perception check for me?
21!
Ooh, well done. You can see that Lord Alabaster is talking to the doctor, and he's like, and so my unspecified reptile oil will be able to rejuvenate your skin and make you look years younger.
Indeed, this sounds like a good thing. Even magic is struggling to keep me all together these years.
Ugh. I think actually I'm offended that they're selling reptile oil, and I would like to sashay up with my hips in a way that says I am displeased with the fan in front of my face, and I would like to slap the reptile oil out of his hand.
What are you doing?
And I put out my hand for him to kiss.
Who are you? Why are you destroying my medicine?
Slate sees this and turns around and goes, I'm really, really sorry. This is a new butler we've hired, and he's rubbish. He has no idea what he's doing. I'm really, really sorry. Please.
He's in a dress.
Yeah, it's just trying to fit in. It's a new job. Look, none of us are really excited. Look, in between you and me, none of us are really excited. Obviously, look at him like, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not our problem. That's just whoever hired him, the man in charge. I'm really sorry. Nothing we can do. Please accept my apologies and forgiveness. If there's anything I could do for you, please let me know.
Make a deception check.
Cool. That was a D12. 12.
You can see that the salesman just sort of walks off in a huff, and Lord Alabaster,
make sure to do your job more effectively next time, woman. It is important that these things run with respect.
Which woman are you talking to? There's no women here.
Man? Is that with the wig?
Glax waves his fan coquettishly and then snaps it up and walks away. Indignantly.
My apologies. Oh, I have broken decorum.
and you can see he floats over to the other side of the room to have a chat with the Vice Admiral. Everybody knows that dinner is going to be at 8 o'clock. So they all sort of retreat to the rooms and start to prepare and such.
Well, I think that was, hesitate to say successful. Now, I do want to stress once again, these are the cream of society, and you can't be just bothering them whenever you feel like.
Yes, of course.
We need to root out these deceptions, not hassle the best people in the land with endless questions.
So you're saying we should spy on them? Does this house have secret passages?
Oh, well, it is a very old house. I dare say that there are a few secret passages.
I think now, when they're not expecting us to see them, is as good a time as any.
Sorry, Lex, you're suggesting we go and spy on these nobles?
Yes.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, you want to do what now? That is absolutely out of the question.
Well, I appreciate it's most uncivilized. On the other hand,
so is assassination.
They have the potential to be more genuine when there are fewer people around. And it might give us a better insight into what some of them are really like and whether they are behaving abnormally.
At this point, you hear a massive crack of thunder outside, and you look out of the window to see rain pouring down. A dark storm seems to have appeared.
It's mood lighting.
Look, perhaps there's something in examining the letter I received.
Yes, I was curious to know precisely what you were informed, and indeed why someone felt it prudent to send ahead a warning.
Well, I'm afraid I do not know. It was an anonymous letter.
To the library or the study.
I assume you have a study.
Of course, yeah. The library or the study. They're two different things. One is for show, you understand.
Well, describe your study to me.
So it is clearly meant to be looked at rather than to have any work done. So Alonso has bought into this idea that if his study is exactly perfect, like exactly conducive to concentration and creativity, then he will create great works of art, such as the heydays of Uptown Orc or Dragonborn to be Wild. He hasn't actually got around to writing any new songs because he's just been creating the study, decorating the study. So it is wildly, wildly overdone. Everything is colour matched to within an inch of its life, and there's knickknacks everywhere. Just everywhere you look, there's a different knickknack.
And you can see out on the desk there is the letter that has, been wax sealed but broken.
Well, there is the letter.
Donna will go and have a look. Does she recognise the seal?
Make a history check for me.
That's an 8.
It's interesting because the marking on it is an arcane one. It's obviously not magical. It definitely implies some magic in terms of like the scripture used. It's a draconic letter as part of the design on the seal.
I mean, I speak Draconic.
Right.
Conrad's like,
Handy.
fuck.
You realise that this is the draconic letter for V.
Donna will sort of examine this and then just mutter that out loud under her breath.
It's arcane, and it's got a V in it. Is there an arcanist with a V name?
It does feel like it could be.
There is, of course, the Arcanist Vista Viridian, but it couldn't have been sent from Vista Viridian. She's a well-renowned Arcanist. She would definitely not resort to these sorts of sordid secrets.
Maybe we should go and ask her about it.
Well, maybe we should look at the letter.
Okay, so opening the letter, and I have the exact wording of the letter. Where is it?
Hooray! Exact wording.
It's not very long.
Hooray!
So you open up the letter and it says, "To the Lord of the Manor, let it be known that on this 10-year peace anniversary there will be 2 doppelgangers sent to commit 2 assassinations. I say this so that you can prepare for the worst." And as you're reading this, you then hear a sudden crash above you, and then you hear a large smashing outside. You see, just before the impact, a dark figure in the window.
Oh no!
It must be that fiend!
We run down
Yeah,
to see
let's
what's going
run and
on.
run outside.
You run down, you can see that everybody's gathering at the stairs, that you sort of have to push past people to make your way there. You run through all the rooms, you run through the kitchen where there are all these sort of pots and pans are being washed magically, until you get to these big windows that you push aside into the garden, and you can see that a piano has fallen atop the Vice Admiral.
No!
A piano which has fallen from the 3rd floor window that has been pushed out. Looking up, you realise that this is the storeroom in the attic.
If I look back up at the window where the piano has come from, do I see anything?
Make a perception check.
I got an 11 on my perception check, so I don't think I see anything.
Can Slate start corralling everyone back to their rooms? All right, everyone, please, can we just head back to our rooms, and the staff here will sort it out. Thank you, everyone.
There's been an unfortunate accident.
Everyone hurriedly makes their way back to their rooms, and there's sort of gasps and shriek just as everybody's making their way back. Miss Nancy Nattier suddenly sees her hands go across her mouth and she screams.
Someone should console her.
I will rush to her.
Oh my, what
My
happened?
dear, don't look. It's a terrible sight. Shield your eyes. Your delicate sensibilities must not see the terrors that have befallen us this night.
But my future husband, I don't, what happened?
It seems he went the way that so many of us are tragically taken.
By piano?
By piano, my dear.
And you lead her away and start guiding her up to her room. And the 4 of you are left with sort of the lower half of him has been crushed by a piano, which is now smashed and in pieces all over the patio. His body is lying there limp with a sword in his hand, a very fancy one.
Has the sword been used at all?
It's got no blood on it or whatever. It looks like not used today.
So it wasn't someone he was expecting, or otherwise, why would he bring out his sword?
So can I make out any kind of tracks, as if someone had quickly kind of run from the spot or anything like that?
Make an investigations check for me, everyone.
That's an 11.
10.
7.
Yes, that's a natural one.
All of you sort of searching about and struggling to find anything. Donna is the only person who manages to find that there's just something in his top pocket, just ever so slightly pushed out.
What have you found there, Donna?
There was a letter in his pocket. Let's see. Vice Admiral Sinopa, for too long have you taken the affections of my dearest Miss Nattier. Today I feel we should settle things like men, for we are on the same premises. I hereby challenge you to a duel for her hand in marriage. Bring your finest sword and meet me in the rear garden at precisely 7 p.m. That is, unless you are too much of a coward to do so. Tagrin Taupe.
So it looks like this taupe character drew him to the garden and then killed him.
So, do we go to the attic or do we go to Tagrin?
Let's go to this guy first, I think.
Yep.
You make your way up the stairs, and eventually on the second floor you reach Tagrin's room.
I think we just enter.
How does Alonso feel about this? As you just see...
I think Alonso will have been on his way back from consoling Nancy and will see them about to just barge in. Excuse me, what on earth do you think that you're doing?
And Slate kicks the door down.
The door swings open and you see sitting on the bed Tagrin Taupe. He's a fairly handsome-looking man with sort of dark hair, and he's reading a book on the bed. And there's sort of various spell components out in various places around the room in little jars and bags and such and sacks. Hello? What is going on?
Did you write a letter?
What do you mean, did I write? I have written no letters. No letters at all.
Ever? Seems very suspicious.
Can you explain this then? And Slate drops the letter down in front of him.
I didn't write this. This isn't even my handwriting.
Forgive me, but could you please then provide us...
There's a letter that was on the desk. As he rushes over, he sort of like tries to push it into the bin, like sort of quite stealthily. Can everybody make a perception check?
14.
14.
13.
Like 12.
So, Alonso, you see this sort of swift motion to push a letter in the bin as he then starts to write out the same letter in his own handwriting.
Okay, so I'll be in the middle of saying, like, now see here, this is absolutely unnecessary. There's no way. Tagrin Taupe says that he does not... Now hang on a second now. Now hang on a second.
Yes?
Tagrin, far be it from me to suggest that there may be anything untoward here going on, but I thought I detected a slight movement of the wrists there that surely we...
No, you wouldn't. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't want that at all. And really, I'm...
We snatched the letter from the bin. See? You said you'd never written a letter.
And then I pass it to Alonso.
No, I couldn't possibly read somebody else's correspondence, he says, opening it up.
You see that this is a love letter to Nancy. But it's different handwriting, definitely.
It looks like someone lured him out there with, using him as bait.
Who else knows about your affectations?
Nobody knows. I haven't told anyone. I don't know. She's from another country, and I am not noble-born. I'm a merchant. I sell the magic items, and I know that she's betrothed to the Vice Admiral, but I would never challenge him to a duel. I can't fight. I am a salesman.
Well, his story does check out, guys.
It is eminently clear he is unable to fight.
Does Nancy know?
We have met before. We have vague ideas of things, but this was my confession. I was writing it. I was hoping to deliver it to her under her door tonight and be gone with her by morning.
Well, that was a plan that you had, but let's not trouble with any further besmirchments on the lady's character. Why don't we just take this letter and you can stay in your room and we'll take this letter and...
You can think about what you've done.
Right. I will stay here. Don't you worry, I will be exactly here and I won't move.
So, you all make your way up the stairs until eventually you reach the attic. And as you enter the room, you can see that there's a stark breeze. There's rain pelting in onto the wooden floorboards. There's sort of very dramatic lighting as you enter. Can everybody make an investigations check?
Another natural one.
Oh no!
I don't trust these real dice anymore.
A 22.
An 11.
A 16.
This is my attic and I don't know what's in here.
Well, I mean, you have manservants to do all of this stuff. Dorna, as you're looking around, eventually your eyes are suddenly caught by something glowing in the corner. You pick it up and you realise that this is a magic item of some sort. It's like a stone with sort of spell etched into it.
Slate, do you have any ideas what this might be? Or... Alonso, is this yours?
Alonso, it is yours, actually.
Oh, well, yes, it is, in fact. I mean, it is in my attic, though, so I hardly think that that's suspicious.
No.
Before you get any ideas.
This isn't meant to be in the attic, however. As Dorna, you're reading this and you realise that the spell etched into this is Unseen Servant. And this is one of the Unseen Servants that should be working in the kitchen. No, Alonso.
So someone's used it to push the piano over.
Now that is a grave misuse.
This unseen servant can only make bolognese.
So I think whoever did this is at least magically aligned in some way.
And they also already knew that the kitchens would be a good source for such a spell.
And they knew that Mr. Taupe had affections for his fiancée.
I think we should go and see Nancy.
Or is it worth checking the kitchens in case anyone has interfered in there?
Or, in fact, if there is any other object missing.
Indeed.
Especially with it almost being dinner time.
That would ruin the meal, and that would be a grave tragedy.
Is there a dumbwaiter?
Yes, there is.
I would like to take the dumbwaiter.
You take the dumbwaiter down to the kitchen, and soon after, everyone else follows. You can see there's all the unseen servants all working away at the 6-course meal that is to follow, including a cheese board and such. But unfortunately, it's going to be a 5-course meal, because the spaghetti bolognese is nowhere close to that.
Alonso faints.
I catch Alonso.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Yay! Will a 13 do?
You just managed to catch Alonso just before his head hits the floor. Alonso, you sort of start to regain consciousness.
In the wrong arms. So you need the spaghetti or everything is very bad?
Well, we can't have this is an extremely important occasion. Now, to serve just 5 courses as though this were any common banquet, it will look as though I do not understand the importance of the occasion.
In that case, Glax would like to grab the front of his dress and pull it off like it's Velcroed. And then pick up an apron and put it on. I'll do my best.
Roll a d20 for me, as you are not trained in cook's utensils.
I'm not trained in anything.
Now, please, you must do an exemplary job on this spaghetti bolognese. A poor result could mean war.
You know it's Lord Alabaster's favourite
It is Lord Alabaster's favourite meal.
3.
You make something resembling spaghetti.
Yeah!
So Glax is now making spaghetti bolognese. What's everybody else doing?
Forgive me, but would it not make sense simply to conjure this unseen servant back?
Unfortunately, I am unable to do those conjurings myself. I acquired these objects from a travelling enchanter of kitchen objects. Very specific profession.
Isn't this guy next to us the guy who sells that? I thought the guy who was with us is the guy who sells that shit.
Different field entirely.
No, you see, kitchen magic is very specific.
So it's a highly trained profession. You have to be really good at both, cooking and magic, and that's like a Venn diagram that's very small. Most wizards absolutely crap at cooking. The number of wizards that live off purely pot noodles is astounding.
That's why they smell so bad.
Slay would like to look around and inspect the other unseen servants, like if they're...
All the others seem to be pretty much as they were. What is noticeable, however, is that the one that was missing is the closest to the door to the servants' quarters. 8 p.m. comes, and you can see that all the guests start to make their way down as the bell is rung by the butler, and everybody starts to file into the dining room, this big, long table, and everybody sort of starts to place themselves down. You can see that Lord Alabaster, as the most significant guest, is opposite the host, Alonso, who is on the far side of the table.
Also somewhere where he can, be making subtle winks at Nancy across the table as well. I mean, obviously, now's not the time. Her fiancé just died, but, should an opportunity arise.
The iron is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Glax, who is Glax sitting next to?
Glax is not sitting. Glax has
Not sitting.
decided that he will serve the food.
Presumably in the process helping out the butler and the maid.
Yeah, I've now got like a big chef hat and a fake beard to try and cover the fact that I'm still, in fact, a lizard.
At some point during the meal, Dorna will briefly excuse herself to use the facilities, and once she is just round the corner but can still kind of see the table, will quickly cast Zone of Truth.
Oh!
Okay. No! Make a stealth check for me? Oh no. This is terrible. Oh,
nat
God.
21! Stealth check!
Yes!
Oh!
Oh, dear.
Phenomenal.
Okay, you cast Zone of Truth over the whole table, and instantly the Lady Mayor turns to pretty much everyone and is like, oh, did you know that Tobe was in love with Nancy here? And the Vice Admiral, he absolutely bought his position. It was absolutely crazy. He's not actually been in a war at all. And the Arcanist over here is only recently practicing. And she's just gossip.
Glax walks into the spaghetti and he pulls his hat off and he goes, I'm not a theft, this is just worms to come forth.
You see everyone.
Alonso stands up and shouts, I stole the rift once, twice, 3 times, an owl bear.
Nancy, I was going to write a letter to you and proclaim my love and say that we should run away together, but I understand the loss of your husband must be horrific, but I do not know when I'll get to see you again. I never loved him. My family needed to marry his family to ensure our position, and I love you. And you can see the two of them literally reach across the table. Salmon, pate, and spaghetti that consists mostly of worms just spills everywhere as they do so.
Well, this is a real downer, frankly.
I mean, it is disgusting. Look at the wallpaper, darling. It's absolutely dreadful.
That wallpaper is avant-garde, and you know it.
Avant-garde? Oh, Christ. Have you no taste whatsoever? Avant-garde is just low-key speech for lacking of any decorum or standard of fare in terms of artistry.
Now, I don't think anybody who's heard the words "kiss from a rogue" could accuse me of having no taste.
I think Glax can see how upset that Alonso is getting, and he's going to take his big, creepy lizard hands and put them over her mouth to stop her from talking. I'm sorry, but she's lost all decorum, and her lack of politeness offends me.
Glax, make sure she can still breathe, okay?
He moves his hands a little, but not much.
After a while, she just pushes up her chair and says, "This is absolutely disastrous. This would never have happened at my own manor." And she starts to march out of the room in a huff.
Can I use 2 sorcery points for quicken spell and cast hold person?
Okay.
Slate kind of touches his earring and then flicks his hand forward, and out of the floorboards little grains of sand just come up. And I'm really sorry, you can't leave. We need to do an investigation here. We need you all to stay inside this room.
What is going on here? I am very confused as to why Zone of Truth is being cast.
Well,
it'll
somebody
be okay,
was
sir.
murdered with a piano, so...
Sorry? The accident?
Anyone here know what happened in the attic? And then Slate looks around expectantly.
You can see that nobody seems to respond.
Where's the butler?
You can see that the butler is currently in the kitchen, sort of getting everything prepared.
I grab the butler and the maid like a pair of kittens by the back of the neck.
The butler fails, and the maid succeeds.
I look at the butler and say, "What happened in the attic? And what is the real secret to a good bolognese?"
Well, the real secret to
No, attic
good
first.
bolognese.
We're on a time schedule.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened in the attic at all. Absolute travesty. That piano had been in this family 3 generations.
Also a man that's dead, but that's fine. And you?
Well, it's a horrible accident. Horrible accident, for sure.
And you? And I look at Flora.
What is it?
What happened in the attic?
I don't know what happened in the attic.
Well, I'm convinced.
Do you want to do an insight check against either of them?
Does someone else want to do an insight check against either of them?
Honestly, no. But I will.
I'll do
For the
one.
story, I will.
I rolled a 5 with the pretend dice.
Oh no, that's only slightly better.
Not worth it at all.
Slate, you're convinced they're both lying, and Alonso, you're very confused as to why they're questioning your staff.
Now see here, Benjamin and Flora are trusted members of this household.
I have been working in this house for many years, and Flora is an exemplary worker.
and they have been far too busy with their chores to do any piano pushing.
That sounds like such an innuendo, and I love it.
It's true, I've been way too busy, and I've still got to go prepare the next round of drinks.
What would we like to do? So the clues that we have is that everybody knew about the romance. So that's no good, but we do have the Arcanist thing and the V. So Arcanist is a good hit, but we're looking for 2 people.
And also, you have not spoken to the Arcanist yet.
Yeah.
She's sort of sitting on the end of the table, near the other Thay people, and she's absolutely aghast as this is happening. You can see she's an abjuration wizard, so she seems to have used some kind of charm to protect her and the Lord from the spell. And she sort of clicks it as you approach, and it sort of drops slightly. And
obviously, I'm very sorry. There's been a real problem with the food. Can you write down what your order was? It's been a real problem. But I have to take the order back.
Make a deception check for me.
No. 0. 2 with
But
a
it's a set menu. I don't understand why I'm doing this. And she just says vegetarian option and then pauses it to you.
Well, I tried.
You do have the letter, though. You do have a modicum of her handwriting.
Does it match what we would expect?
Yes, it does.
I tackle her.
What?
You tickle her.
No, tackle, darling, tackle. I'm like, you'll tell me the truth.
No, you tackle her. Okay, make an athletics check.
I got a 9.
You pounce across to her, and she, at the last minute, jumps out of the way, casts shield to, just push you slightly.
She's got a V name. She's an Arcanist. She's got flowery handwriting. I think she's a doppelganger.
Sorry, didn't the V person write the letter warning about the murders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glax is like, I have all the clues. This is the person.
This is the only person you have any clues about anything for?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Lieutenant, I must ask you, you have information.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh,
no.
Oh, come on.
Come on. Can we let her roll again? Because this is redundant.
Yeah. Let you roll
God.
again.
Okay.
It's not fair.
No, come on.
That's a 13.
Yeah, that's at least a decent roll. Oh my god. By the way, for reference for the audience, that was a 5 and then a 6.
Which is the highest I've rolled all day.
I know! You've been rolling so bad! Oh, I'm so sorry. I have nothing of the sort. Viridian is looking quite sort of flustered in a way at this accusation.
Glax, no, I think you've misunderstood. And also, that wasn't subtle.
I will excuse myself. And he goes back towards the wall.
And you just sit by the wall.
Dorna will turn and just go, I am deeply sorry for my companion's behaviour there. There had been a drastic misunderstanding, and he tends to leap into action a bit unprovoked occasionally.
That's absolutely fine, but please come with me.
Of course. Dorna will go. It's up to everyone else whether they want to go as well.
Yeah, Slate will go as well.
I think Alonso would also like to go, despite being uninvited.
Is Glax in the kitchen then?
No, he's going to stand guard of the room and make sure no funny business happens.
Okay.
So you sort of are led out. Arcanist Viridian turns around and says,
The accusation was wrong. Instead, I'm the one who wrote the letter in warning.
Yes, we did think it might have been you.
You don't understand. Lord Alabaster's son, Aurelian. He wants to kill the naval officer that's in charge of the lake, and also kill his father and then try to take control of it. We're running out of time.
and at this point you hear it screaming in the room.
So you didn't think to mention this before now?
I wanted the assassination attempt to be foiled, and so we could go, get it done, and without there being such breaks in decorum, and without me losing my job.
Well, I think Alonso's going to start running back towards where the screaming is happening.
We flash back. After the others leave, everything settles down for a moment, and awkward silence that sort of comes across the room. And then the butler and the maid enter the room. Can you make a dex save for me?
Natural 20!
And you just see that the maid jumps at you with 2 knives. and they just slam into the wall beside as you roll to the side.
That's not very polite. I would like to tackle her.
That's a natural one from her. Yeah, you managed to pin her down, and you instantly see that her sort of hands start to become like weird carapaces. And, there's like a sort of layer of chitin to her almost. Her eyes sort of reveal into being completely amber, the white, the iris, and the pupil. There's no mouth whatsoever as it peels away the magic, almost like burnt parchment. You're left with this sort of strangely iridescent figure that you've got pinned to the ground. You turn, look upwards as the Lady Mayor screams, seeing the butler holding a sword to the throat of Lord Alabaster. And then you just see Alonso push into the room. Glax has the other doppelganger pinned to the ground who had 2 daggers. And then Aurelian is sitting there as if pretending to be completely shocked at this happening.
What I would like to do is take the enormous centerpiece on the table.
Oh, yeah.
It's obviously very gaudy and overblown. And make it snake out to snatch the dagger.
Okay, and you can see that this plant, this big long vine, reaches out and grasps onto his arm and yanks it backwards, and the dagger is sort of lifted out of the hand. At that point, you can see his skin starts to turn purple, the clothes start to turn into chitin, and
Is
you
it pronounced
start to
chitin?
see a doppelganger. Is it chitin?
I think it is, because
It's one of those words I've only ever seen.
Yeah,
in
So does that mean that the word chitinous is also not chitinous?
I think chitinous
chitinous?
is chitin, but it's
chitinous.
Is it chitinous? Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah. I look at the one that I am holding and I say, "You weren't invited, and now you're underdressed." I'm gonna bite this lad.
And so you just sort of chomp down. Where do you bite it? And I think
In
this is
the neck.
So how do you kill this thing?
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
Oh god.
In the neck, and I just pull up, and it looks like spaghetti just like comes out of its neck.
That's the secret to a good bolognese.
And you just see it sort of like weird purple blood spills everywhere, and this strange spaghetti entrails, and you see the life drains from its eyes. If its tongue could be out of where its mouth should be, it would, as this thing is dead. And the other one's still being yanked by a plant. Does anyone else want to do anything?
Alonso, this is all you, baby.
I will start up a rendition of Who Let the Gelatinous Cubes Out.
Fantastic.
That is both the best and the worst one yet.
Who let the cube out?
Ooh.
Goo, 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 goo. As a way to do dissonant whispers, because it's it is very dissonant. It's a mess.
You see that there's psychic penetration of this thing's mind sort of eking into it, and its arm being pulled back. You can see that tendons are tearing. How do you finish it off, Alonso?
I feel like what would be most appropriate is to take the decorative plate that I had fashioned in order to give to the delegate from Thay, and just like whack him over the head with it.
Okay.
Sometimes Alonso is learning decorum is not the most important thing.
And as you're thinking that, you smash the plate over this thing's head, and it just falls onto the table, slumps down, purple blood spilling from its forehead. Lord Alabaster is standing back there in shock.
You have saved my life!
Yes, it seems that I have. Well, Lady Mayor, I suppose that's something that you'll need to add into your next party.
And she just sort of runs out of the room.
Dorna's busy striding over to the nephew.
You literally catch him as he's just like slowly getting up from his seat, trying to stealth away.
This does not seem like the moment you should be sneaking out. I think you should stay put.
I am not trying to sneak out at all.
Well,
I was just going to the bathroom.
Zone of truth, motherfucker.
yeah, Zone of Truth is still there, mate.
Oh, yeah! It's still got concentration. You can see his brain is trying to come up with an excuse, but his mouth is saying the truth.
I was trying to leave as to avoid being accused of anything.
Oh, Oh, so you think you might be accused of something?
Yes, I do. And you can see his hand just goes over his mouth, like in complete shock.
Slade just takes his hand away from his mouth and goes, "Why would you be accused of anything?"
Because I wanted to murder my father. Ah!
And you can see Lord Alabaster just, sort of turns to the side, from sort of relief, just to sheer horror. And you see his eyes just turn red.
That feels like an adequate confession to me. I think it's time we dealt with you.
I think it's time that I dealt with him. You insolent child! You were always my least favourite. You were just the oldest.
And with that, you can see he pulls out a wand, casts in the air, and just instantly casts Disintegrate. You've got to save.
Jesus Christ!
These guys aren't the good guys. You just see the nephew just puff and just fall into ash.
Alonso, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we murdered 4 people at your party. Well, not 4. He murdered one as well.
And 2 of them weren't actually people.
That's debatable.
I think if there's one thing that we've learned today, it's that we all have different ideas of what is decorous, and maybe the 2 nations can live in harmony, understanding that one may think it's perfectly fine to disintegrate one's relatives in a party, and the other may think that's a little untoward, and perhaps both are valid ways of living, and we can all learn to work together to defeat our real enemies.
Indeed.
And you can see that the Alabaster floats over to you and holds out a hand.
Your party has been a resounding success. It was the most fun I have had in 300 years.
Oh, well, that's very nice to hear. Thank you so much. That's a real compliment, I'm sure.
If you have another, please do invite me.
As soon as he's got another sun ready to disintegrate, then that's...
But you're just left with the Thesk people who all look completely horrified and an absolutely ruined dining room.
Wow, well, that was exciting.
Yes, this isn't normally how these sort of parties go.
Not usually, no. It seems we need something, perhaps, to cheer us up a little. Who's up for a rendition of Mambo 3.5?
Thank you ever so much for playing.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's been so much fun.
Thank you for being on, Sasha. And where can people find more about you and what you do?
People can find more about me mostly on Twitter, which is @SiennaSasha. And you can find out more about the games company that I run with Jonathan Sims, who's my husband, and is also the writer of the Magnus Archives and other creative things, at MacGuffin & Co. or www.MacGuffinandCompany.com.
And, of course, you've got Murder Express on there, so if people want to do their own murder mystery, so there's a system for it.
Yeah, that's free, and we've written up a murder mystery that happens on a train that you can also have for free.
And if people want to see your own podcast creation, which is very in the style of what we did today,
you can follow us at Ostentations, or you can just search Jane Ostentations on any podcast place, where I assume you already are, so well done you.
yeah.
So go check that out. With that, I want to say thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!
Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for listening to Power Word Roll. You can find links to all our social media at powerwordroll.co.uk. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Otherwise, a positive review on iTunes is the best way to help us out. But for now, from Conrad, Naomi, Henry and myself, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.
The first course is brought out, smoked salmon pate upon...
Smoked salmon what?
Sorry, I don't know
Not sure what happened there.
Oh,
It's a smoked salmon party.
Smoked salmon pate.
I kind of...
Smoked salmon pate.
Hello?
Does every course matter?
No, you bring out the first course.
Good.
I was just going to say what it was. Smoked salmon pate on sort of...
Said it again!
Did I?
Yes.
Shit!
How?
Salmon patter. Fuck.